pigment can match the target shade perfectly as a dry powder and still fail in production. Fat can disrupt dispersion, extrusion can expose agglomerates, baking can shift the color, and packaging conditions can change the finished appearance during storage. That is why visual matching alone cannot support commercial approval. A defensible decision connects three validation layers: formula fit, process fit, and compliance fit. Formula fit confirms that the pigment achieves the required shade and dispersion in the actual recipe. Process fit establishes whether that performance survives baking, extrusion, drying, cooling, coating, and packaging. Compliance fit verifies that the intended use and commercial lot are supported by appropriate specifications, certificates, traceability records, and market documentation. Validation begins by defining the finished product appearance, processing window, destination market, and acceptance criteria. The target should be assessed under controlled lighting, with instrumental color values where available, consistent photographs, dispersion observations, and an agreed range for acceptance. Without a defined standard, later differences caused by a new lot, revised process setting, or packaging change become difficult to investigate. 5 controlled trials can then build the performance record. First, test dispersion in the real formula, including its fat level, water activity, pH, ingredient order, and premix method. Second, assess dosage response to determine whether the required appearance can be reproduced within an acceptable range. Third, expose the product to representative heating or extrusion conditions. Fourth, evaluate the complete finishing process, including cooling, fat application, surface coating, and packaging. Fifth, retain samples for storage review under conditions that reflect the expected distribution route. For baked products, record the time temperature profile rather than relying only on the oven setting. Oven air temperature, internal product temperature, surface drying, moisture loss, and local hotspots can produce different results. Compare the product before heating, immediately after cooling, and after a defined storage interval. Repeat at least one trial with a separately prepared batch, and include the most demanding shape, thickness, or coating level. Extruded products require a different focus. High shear and variable moisture may reveal pigment agglomerates that remain hidden in a laboratory blend. The test should document where the colorant enters the process, how the premix is prepared, and whether feeding remains consistent. Samples from the early, middle, and late stages of the run help show whether color is uniform across production. Storage and packaging are part of the same performance system. Moisture ingress, oxygen, light, package headspace, and contact with oils can alter perceived color after an initially successful trial. Retention samples should therefore be held in the same or a representative package and compared with the immediate post-production standard. Performance evidence must be matched by ingredient evidence. The approval file should identify the material, grade, intended function, destination market, conditions of use, and manufacturing site where relevant. A generic certificate is insufficient if it does not cover the actual product grade, test method, site, or commercial lot. A useful certificate of analysis is lot-specific, legible, and tied to an agreed specification. Review its parameters, units, sampling basis, method references where available, release date, and supplier identity. Where heavy metal control is relevant, confirm which elements are tested, how results are reported, and whether the limits align with company requirements and the intended market. Traceability must connect the sample lot to receiving records, production records, retained samples, finished product release, and shipping documents. Supplier controls should also address segregation, cleaning, adjacent grades, packaging protection, and change notification. Approval remains sequential. Strong documentation cannot rescue poor process performance, and good color cannot compensate for an incomplete compliance file. Product development, quality, and procurement should sign off against one shared record. After the first commercial shipment, color consistency, line behavior, supplier responsiveness, and customer feedback should be reviewed again. A pigment is approved not because it can create a color once, but because that result can be repeated and defended for a defined formula, process, package, market, and lot.